I was a teenager when I met Shakur in Graterford Prison. He had already been in for nearly 15 years, and he was the first person I met who had a life without the possibility of parole sentence. That stuck with me over time to think here's this person who's never going home. It's, I thought often, does somebody like him have hope? What do they hope for? What does his family think? It's one of the reasons why I got into this, because I know it was people like him who deserve a second chance. He has nearly 35 years in now, and he's being reviewed for commutation, which is basically a like a pardon from the governor for good behavior. They review his rap sheet, his prison record, the things he's accomplished, and I believe he's accomplished probably more than most people, even in society at his age. I thought of the conversations him and I have had. Those were words of wisdom, and that's one of the reasons why I reached back out to him when I got out. He had helped me write a letter to my judge when I was 19 in prison, and I mean, though the judge didn't care, it meant a lot to me. Good people deserve good things.
Hey, you got tattoos all over the place now, man.
Yeah, that's right. When you knew me, I didn't have them. Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah, I tell you, you got bigger, stockier.
I actually
You know what I
lost
mean?
weight.
Yeah.
Now, what? Yeah, the last time I saw you was like 13, 14 years ago.
Look, you say no, that was longer than that. I ain't seen you since you left Graterford. That was in what, 2007, 8? I mean 2009. That was 2005,
5, yeah,
wasn't it?
2005.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah.
when I remember that I went home and then I came back in 2000 and something. You came to my cell when I was coming through the intake process there.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
I don't remember that one. I don't remember that one.
And you were,
Damn, I don't remember that one.
um,
Yeah, man. What's up, man? What you in the cage? Look like you in the cell.
this is this is the studio.
Oh, that's your studio
Yeah,
room?
it's a new camera, so it's like I don't know how to like. I was just messing with it.
Oh, yeah. So you got your certificates and shit.
Yeah,
What's your certificates of?
that's that's the paralegal. This is electric. This is core. This is CPR and AED. This is creative writing, and this is construction site safety. And through like when I did the OSHA and stuff.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. You
Where
know
do
what I
they
mean?
have
That's
you at?
good.
Where's that at?
This is on the other side of the visiting room. Yeah, it's good seeing you though,
You too,
man.
man.
We bald head boys, man. I
I
thought you
know.
still was
Oh,
gonna have your head.
they
I
got
still
these
thought you still was gonna have your hair. Huh?
Shakur. They got these razors out here. I just shaved like 10 minutes before I got on. They got these things. You
Yeah,
just put them on your head, and it's just it's electric, and you're done.
yeah. Hey, I just passed my teacher license exam yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. I passed that joint, so now I got my barber teacher now.
so you're a
You know
barber
what I mean?
teacher, so
Yeah.
you can teach me how to cut hair.
That's what I do anyway. That's my job in here to teach people how to cut hair.
Uh, but
You
out
know what I
here,
mean?
that dang. So, but you could out technically out here, you could start a school
Exactly.
legally, and that's a
Me,
hot thing, man.
yeah, I know, I know, I know, I know, I
And
know. I'm trying to find out how to get the funding now.
we just got to get you here.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
you want to talk about your competition? Do you want me to look up anything while you have me at your
yeah,
disposal?
yeah. I got something right here, right?
Ah.
Do you know a joint called change.org?
Yeah,
It's an online,
I put a
huh?
petition on there when I first got out. It was the first thing I did. I put on I don't even remember what it was, man. But it's still out there.
But yeah, I know what it is. There's actually one of my other friends in STI Chester. He started one a few months ago.
Yeah,
What do
it's
you?
like you're supposed to. I'm trying to petition for more support for my commutation, like for like different groups and so forth and so on, for people to reach out and basically write the commutation, be like, look, can we support Mr. Gale? I got my application numbers here, and I got a I got a joint that says, one of the questions they ask you, why you feel you deserve commutation, and how will society benefit from your release? So I wrote something up on that in a letter. It says, I believe that I deserve commutation because I am no longer a young man who came into Pennsylvania DOC in 1992. When I first got here, I was an angry, bitter, and confused man who blamed everyone for his mistakes but himself. I felt that the world had wronged me in some way and owed me some kind of debt for it. It took years of my life to finally realize that was further from the truth. It was I who owed debt to society. And it took many years for me to learn to grow and finally become a man. I have spent my time wisely learning to better myself, not only physically, but emotionally and mentally as well. Thanks to numerous programs and classes offered to me at SEI Grateful and SEI Phoenix, I have been able to acquire critical tools to help me along my path to self redemption. Some of those classes, such as Thinking for a Change, Victims Awareness, Violence Prevention, have really hit home and opened up my mind to the negative consequences of my actions. There's not a day that goes by that I do not think about my negative actions and regret my wrong decisions. But there is hope. If granted commutation, I plan to take all the knowledge I have gained these many years and use it appropriately to help my community. I owe it to my community, give back for so much of I've taken. Coupled with that, I plan to start a nonprofit organization that help foster children who are being abused in foster care with that and get them the appropriate treatment they deserve that I was never given in foster care. And also, I plan on starting my own professional barbering shop. I have my state board license and state board instructor's license. The goal of the barbershop is to just isn't just to cut hair, but to create a safe learning place for inner city kids to come to, where they can learn a trade that will not only benefit them, but keep them safe and away from drugs, guns, and criminal behavior. Not only that, I also want to organize community garden program and help turn dilapidated vacant lots and turn them into thriving vegetable gardens for the community and help supplement those on a low fixed budget, but also turn those gardens into memorials named after those who have tragically lost to drugs and gun violence. Throughout my time spent incarceration, I have never sat idle. I have spent time volunteering with numerous organizations, such as Lifers Ends, the NAACP, Real Street Talk, the Great Panthers, Pennsylvania Alternative to Violence Projects, People Achieving Reintegration, PAR, and Community Forgiveness Restorative, and also SEI Phoenix Health Fair Committee. I've been a volleyball referee and an instructor and an institutional yoga instructor. These lifetime volunteers have allowed me to not only help others, but also has given me a higher purpose in life. And it is this purpose and I want to continue to achieve in my community if given a chance to. I will help out at every chance I can from working at soup kitchens, feeding the homeless, to street cleanups, and volunteering to talk to young boys and girls about the consequences of life of crime. But lastly, I want to help bridge the generational gap between my daughters and my grandchildren who have gone decades without their father and grandpa. For too long, our families have to suffer because of our mistakes, and it is in everyone's power to help fix this mistake. We need to put families at the forefront of life in order to keep the future generations of prosperous and healthy and free from life of crime. That cool?
Yeah, that's cool.
The family of the victim is supporting my commutation, right?
Wow.
So being as though that I can't really talk to him or nothing like that, there's an older guy in here that went to school with the victim's brother, and he's a reverend, and he talks to him, frequently. And he was like, tell Mr. Gale, like, uh, 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 don't worry about nothing. Whatever you need us to do, we're going to support you totally. So in saying that, I wanted to, kind of, I know I wrote a letter to the apology bank, but I wanted to do another personal letter to the family. And if you could put that in there, you think that'll be appropriate to put in there too, if I read it to you?
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Say, yeah, that's
So I
important.
said, how are you? I am sorry we have to communicate in such a senseless and absurd way. Although I can understand the sincere nature of the matter and its effect on some. Personally, I personally believe it is necessary I give you and your family a proper apology. It is warranted by me because this is something I sincerely want to do. And I appreciate that you giving me this opportunity. Sir, I express sorrow for your loss because of my deplorable decisions with my involvement in Frank in the death of Frank. My choices at that present time in life was made by a hurt young adult. Subsequently, my growth in prison has made me reflect on all those bad decisions I made and I take personal responsibility for my actions by making amends to the family I harmed. I believe you and your family are magnanimous for giving me a possible second chance at a free and or life through the board of pardons. I profoundly appreciate your forgiveness at a great loss to you. Thank you graciously for your forgiveness, and I know that your grace is well received and your grace is well received, and I know that my transformation is for good during the rest of my journey in life. Sir, I am starting. Well, I don't want to say that. I just want to say that because the other one is talking about, I'm telling him that I want to start the partners board process. You know what I'm saying?
Shakur, I remember when you were reading that when I was God, I was a kid. I was like 19 years old when I met you, and
Yeah,
I was going up to the court. I knew nothing about law, and you wrote a letter for me for the judge. I have that somewhere
yeah.
too, man. I
Oh,
remember
yeah. I remember that joint too. Yeah.
you came to my cell and you were like, "Here, read this to the judge." And, yeah, I still have that, man.
Did you read it to him?
I did, you know, but unfortunately, I learned later in life that the court system isn't designed for rehabilitation or accepting, things like that. I was they wanted to convict. At least that's what
Yeah.
I've learned now, that it's more so about
About
conviction,
convictions.
a conviction
Yeah.
rate number, and I was
Yeah.
just a number, and
Yeah.
I shouldn't have been at that time. I shouldn't have been incarcerated. It should have been sent to some sort of like rehabilitation. But I mean, that's my story. But I remember you doing
Yeah.
that, man.
Yeah.
So I know
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
words are sincere. I can still picture you in your cell writing stuff like that. You still got that big box Sony TV?
Oh no, that joint been gone. Ever since they switched to the flat screen TVs. Yeah,
but
that shit been gone.
but you were the only one I ever knew. This was back when we had those bubble TVs. You had a
Yeah,
Sony flat screen TV. I mean, it was the bubble, but
yeah,
it was the flat
yeah,
screen. They had
yeah,
you as a clerk because
yeah.
you did a
The
lot of
clerk
work
over
for
there.
that block, and a lot of the
Yeah,
staff, they
yeah,
respected you.
yeah. And all that shit going out the door now, though, man.
But
All them
the
people is
change,
gone. The flip over here is it might have been changed 200, 300 times.
From
That's
Graterford to
how
Phoenix.
fast. Yeah, I'm saying the staff. That's how fast the staff in here change, and it's 50%, 59% women in here. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And it's bad. It's like it's a stabbing every day. It's somebody beating a guard up damn near every other day. Guards, had a sense of professionalism.
Right.
That's out the door.
I remember one of the first things I started studying was 'cause when I started my bid, I had a list of things I wanted to study. Unfortunately, law was number 3. It should have been number 1, but
Yeah,
psychology was one of the
yeah,
beginnings. And I watched the guards as they started, and it was when they first start, they were completely different. There was like a
mm-hmm,
they had like a sense of humility and towards
yeah,
humanity, and then within
yeah,
that 1 year it like went completely out the door. And
yeah,
I thought that I mean, it had a lot to do with us, the inmates, like burning them out. There was a lot that tried to take advantage of that, by
yeah,
asking them to let them do certain things that they weren't supposed to, and then they would get reproached by their superior. But they
mhm,
weren't able to hold on to it. They lost control in their minds, and
yeah, yeah,
I thought a good way to resolve that would be like annual programming where they would have to go through as sort of like a reminder. These are
yeah,
humans you're dealing with, and not every one of them are the same. Some are
yeah,
here to learn, to educate, and to rehabilitate, and then there
yeah,
are those who need extra attention. We have to sort of
yeah,
discern which ones and bifurcate them, as opposed to treating them all as animals like they do.
yeah.
If you treat a person like an animal who doesn't,
And they
they,
they
they
got
become that.
this they got this and it started from here in prison, and they got this joint called RAP, right? And it's wellness recovery something program, right? And they go throughout. Then they took this program on the street, and they were able to get an organization to help build it up. So they go all around the country, presenting their program, and uh it deals with people, like businesses, and how businesses have arguments, and it teach people how to associate with each other, and it teach people about different traumas that they go through on employment and so forth and so on, and anxieties, and all of these. And that's what they're trying to do with prisons, to be able to talk to the staff here. You know what I'm saying? It's because majority of the staff here come from inner cities, and then they already been affected by life tragedies, and also they come here and they get indoctrinated to, and their system teaches them not the professionalism, but how we as people always trying to get over. And I think that has passed. That's for the past. It's because people had a certain aptitude back then, is where it's due. They can distinguish from their own personal things into real life situations. And these younger people, they can't do that, right? They can't do that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when they get personally attacked, the first thing they do is they bring their poverty, where they come from, into the equation. And what that turns into is fuck you, your mother, so forth, when in this, that, and the third. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it was an incident that happened on a block just coincidentally yesterday with a staff member and an inmate. And the inmate, he was basically disrespectful. So the female, she got disrespectful, but she took it to another level because she bought people's convictions. You got life. You never going home. Fuck you. I don't give a fuck if you never go home, and so forth and so on. And the administration now is so lighthearted on handling these situations, and people get harmed at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said, like, it's so many staff assaults in here is because they don't have it. And they need, me saying that is they need these rap programs and these different programs in here to bring more structure. You know what I'm saying? And they need to happen on an annual basis.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They need to happen over and over and over and over and over and over. Like you do PRIA.
Yeah.
The same thing need to happen with these kind of programs. And they're teaching us because I already took one of the trainings and they get ready to come back in for the facility training. And the good part about this training is that you can facilitate any type of program that you want to facilitate. And that's one of my things is to be able to train these type of people is because I'm getting a college degree too. And I study psychology too. Personally myself, like I mentioned in my letter, I was in foster care and I had a lot of trauma from that. Now I'm saying, and by me going to college and taking psychology classes and then studying on my own, I can understand a lot of trauma that people went through. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, that's what I just wanted to put out there to you because this shit Hensley yesterday, one of the deputies, and I asked him about 2 weeks to call and talk to one of the medical staffs and ask them about put me on this drug, Farxiga, because my A1C levels is off the chart.
Well, you have diabetes.
Yeah, yeah.
When did you first learn that you had diabetes?
And I just went over my records with the records department the day before yesterday, Thursday. Mm-hmm. And I just got all that information. And so in 2018 is when I first developed diabetes. So my levels was at 420 to 470. I started getting blindness and all that, urinating a lot and so forth and so on. I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't know nothing about diabetes at the time. So I went down. So they immediately took my ketones and they said I was cool on that is because if ketones get in your urine, they have to take you on the outside. Fortunately, it didn't get to that. So they immediately put me on insulin. So the insulin that they put me on was an insulin called Lantus. So it was working well. It took my glucose level down to a normal level, and it leveled my A1Cs off. I think at that time, it went down to like a 7 or something like that because it was up to a 9. So after I think it was about a couple months, they took me off of insulin and put me on metformin. So we start going into the pandemic, and the metformin was seizing me up. So I couldn't go to the bathroom, and my stomach was, I lost so much weight, it was ridiculous. I think I went down to 180. So you always know, I'm always was a boy that was like 130, 135. Right now I'm at like 210. So it took me down to 180, and then so I went into the medical, and they put me on these joints. So they took me off of metformin and they put me on this pill called glipizide. So I'm on glipizide for a while, at least for about, I think, 2020 to 25, they had me on this glipizide, but they only had me on 5 milligrams. So through that time, I seen my glucose levels start to rising, and every 6 months you have a A1C check. now my A1C levels will start rising. So I'm working out and I'm eating, trying to eat the best that I can in here. I stopped eating rice. I stopped eating noodles. I don't eat no white bread. I don't eat none of that bread or none of that. You know, Once in a while I might dibble and dab, but I'm trying to get these levels back down. I'm just being honest and truthful. And once in a while it might be once or twice a month, right? And I'm losing weight and I'm really working out.
Yeah,
And
you look
my
skinny.
A1C levels is still rising. So that it went from 8 to 9 till the last time I checked, 11.5. So I'm like, man, what the hell is going on? And when your levels start getting that high, it's possible it can get in your bones because it start going into your bones. You know what I'm saying? And once it gets into your bone marrow, they start cutting on you. So I'm getting worried. So in 2023, after they seen that my levels was getting high, they put me back on insulin and put me on this new joint, which I never knew was Simly, what I had you check. In 2023, it was at 8. In 2024, it was at 9. In 2025 is at 11.5. So I'm like, y'all got me on a pill and y'all got me on insulin. Something is wrong. So, and I've been cutting hair since 2011, right? So when they had me on the Lannis, nothing was wrong. When they put me on this assembly in 23, I'm noticing, and I don't know it's the insulin. I don't know it's the insulin at this time. Hair start getting in my eyes. I'm waking up at night. Shit, I'm like, what's going on? Like, this shit is crazy. Now I'm saying the whole time the insulin not even working for me. It's not working for me because my joints is steady rising. My A1C is steady rising. This shit is not working. I go to them and I say, listen, this simply is not working. It is harming my eyes in some kind of way. I don't know. So they was like, well, this is the only medication we got for you. How is the only medication if one medication don't work? You're supposed to start me on another one. Everything don't work for everybody.
Right.
Oh, well, I said, well, take me off of that and put me on this other insulin named Novolin NR. Novolog R is a fast acting if your joints go over 200. The little girl was like, all right, well, I got to talk to them. So they switched it. So then I'm talking to this lawyer from the ADA department on the phone, and she was like, no, they're not supposed to have you on that. That's only for short acting. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be on a long acting where it's supposed to be all day. So I go back and I tell them this. The lady get mad at me, talking about, oh, she's a lawyer, she's not a doctor. I said, well, she's a type 2 diabetic too, and she works for the ADA department. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So she worked with medical issues. She get livid. And I'm like, what's wrong? Now I'm saying, so she writing my chart, all this dumb shit. Yeah, he said his sister is and all of this and this. I never told her. I said I got 9 brothers. I got 9 brothers and sisters that take insulin. I said 2 of them work and they got their own home and health care and all this. And I said, this when I start talking about the lawyer, she go crazy. She ain't say nothing about the lawyer, but she said something about this other shit. So now they won't help me. They won't do nothing for me. They giving 2 other people Farxiga, and I just found out that they giving other people Lannis, which they're denying me.
I've been down that medical road, and did you read my lawsuit where
Yeah.
the court's opinion, and the court's opinion, well, they agree with me saying that everybody's body is different and deserves different treatment because I mean this was
Mhm.
addiction, and initially the DOC's treatment for addiction was talk therapy. That was it.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to explain to them, well, I mean, not everybody, that doesn't work for everybody, and a lot of people are actually scared to talk about their addiction. And then the court agreed, yeah, there has to be a diversity, a variety, because everybody's body is different. And they told you though that they weren't offering those other ones, right?
Yeah, they talking about that they only have formulary drugs that they offer, which is cost efficient for them.
Right.
But they have a non-formulary protocol. If something is not working, then you would have to put it in a EMR system and get approval for it. Now I'm saying, but what I learned yesterday when I talked to the deputy is that they say that I don't fit the criteria, even though my A1C levels are high. You know what I'm saying? I don't fit the criteria to get this medicine. Why you think that's it?
You have a lawsuit in now. It's already
No,
started.
not yet. I just went through the grievance process with the other issue of them not giving it to me and all of that. But they're not giving it to me is because I'm a lifer.
Yeah.
And they're giving it to people. I know two people right now that they're giving it to that's getting ready to go home. I got their name, number, and all that. And two people for the Farsiga, one person for the Lantis. Now I'm
You
saying?
didn't tell me that. Yeah, that's. I just talked to somebody else. They're denying him. They just started the MAT treatment in at his
Mm,
prison, and they're denying him. Or they're not denying. They're they're deferring it, but they're gonna try to defer it forever because he has a life sentence, and
exactly.
that's something new that needs to be addressed in there.
This is dealing with a drug that affects you and harms your body. You know what I'm saying? Like Mumia's drink, when I read his summary judgment in the language in there and how he attacked it on a protocol of how they're denying treatment that works for somebody that has a disease that is detrimental to your health. I could possibly die because they're denying me this treatment.
You're talking about Mumia.
Exactly. That's why I wanted to read his whole civil brief is to get the full scope. You know what I'm saying? It's because it showed how he went up against him. And then I'm trying to get this bull just ready to give me this address. And I'm hoping you can get me back on this joint because this is an ongoing joint too. Get me back on this joint as quick as possible with this address to this person because they've been giving me this glipizide I missed this part at 5 milligrams, right?
Mm-hmm.
They never adjusted it to my A1C levels, and it was only a short acting. And they were supposed to have me two pills, one in the morning, one at night. They had me on one, just one pill, and it goes from 2.5 to 20 milligrams. They never adjusted it for the whole 4 years. Nobody. That's why my A1Cs is climbing. Not because I've been eating wrong. Not because they weren't addressing my A1C levels right or checking my glucose, looking at it and says, "Damn, maybe we need to adjust this medication." And they got a pill that is glipizide, but it's called glucotrol extra. It's for 24 hours for type 2 diabetes. That's the pill that I was supposed to get. And they were supposed to adjust that. So if that's inadequate care in itself and deliberate indifference is because they never paid any mind, didn't care, or nothing. They seen the A1C levels. I go to chronic care and they look at the records. Oh shit, what are you eating? I said, what are you feeding me? Y'all feed us nothing but starch.
Yeah.
Nothing. I said, what are you talking about? Well, what you getting on commissary? I said, listen, I understand that I'm a diabetic. I know what I'm supposed to do. I said, I'm trying to do it the best way. Y'all not helping me. Oh, well, no, you're not. Y'all not helping me. And they look at me as being aggressive. Why? Because I'm a dark skinned black male in prison.
Yeah.
They look at me being aggressive. Oh, you's a dumb nigga. You don't know what the fuck you talking about.
Yeah.
It's possible for you not to know what you're talking about. So I have to get this information from sources, from doctors in society that would write it. And this is the information that I want to send you. It's this these doctors that they'll write you. They won't write me, but they'll write you because you home. You say, well, what about this situation? What about that situation?
A certificate of merit.
Yeah,
That's where you
yeah,
got
to
that from.
write
From that. Yeah.
to write a certificate of merit to say that
For your
the
lawsuit,
course of
yeah.
action that's been taken for this young man is wrong.
Yeah,
Know what I'm
they'll
saying?
deny it. They'll deny a lawsuit if you don't have that certificate of merit, and that's why a lot of people in jail, when it comes to medical issues, they'll lose.
Exactly.
I can even try to reach out to those who helped Mumia because this is almost
Yeah.
an identical situation, and they're the ones who then, finalized it. And the courts, I mean, unfortunately, don't take us serious when we're in there, when we're in Browns. And you need
Exactly.
somebody out here.
I'm drawing up a complaint to the federal government right now about the issue. Now I'm saying, and see if they would investigate it or look into it as a civil rights
The
complaint.
DOJ, you going through the DOJ?
Was that I
The
don't know, was
Department of
this,
Justice.
yeah, I guess, yeah.
They're the ones that take like civil rights complaints. Matter of fact, I'll give you their address because I went that route too. They denied me though. But maybe if you
Yeah,
have support out here, or maybe I could even start it, or if there's somebody
yeah,
else who's familiar with this issue, because and I'm sure it's not just you. It's
yeah, I know, yeah, yeah. Yeah, but I have to get on top of it is because I gotta put a junction in because it's harming me every day. It's because they got me on an insulin that I'm not even supposed to be on, and they saying that I'm refusing to go to an insulin that's not even working. Know what I'm saying?
you can
And it's
file a preliminary injunction even before your grievance is exhausted, but that's, I mean, I wouldn't, say not to, but I know the courts have rarely ever adopted it when it comes to somebody incarcerated, and then when it
yeah,
comes to somebody serving life without parole, it's death by incarceration, and the
yeah.
longer you're